Happy Monday, everybody. We are Chris and Steve from EatWalkLearn. We are back in Spain walking the Camino this week. So in 2 weeks, we will tell you all about walking the Camino. But this week, we're going to jump right to it. We got a long video. We are talking about our 1 year anniversary as Nomads. Congratulations, honey.
1 year. Yes.
1 year.
We did it.
So as our treat to you, we're sharing all of our numbers, all of our expenses, where we're under budget, over budget, the total number. We hang out till the very end. We tell you our big number. Were we over? Were we under? We're going to tell you. And we're going to intermingle our favorite places and things that we did along the way. And the goal of that is to give you inspiration that you can do these things on the budget that we did. So follow along. I'm going to tell you the experiences. Steve's going to tell you the numbers. We're going to jump right into it. Number one, when we left, we sold all of our stuff last May in Denver. Sold our house, sold our everything. Packed up the car, did a road trip through the US, jumped over on a plane to the UK and did Ireland in the UK, took a cruise back to Mexico. We're in Mexico for the winter, took a cruise back to Europe, and we've been in Europe since end of March. And we are now in Spain. We're about to time out of Europe and go back to Ireland for the summer. So in that year, we had 2 giant road trips, one in Europe and one in the US, and 2 cruises, and then the rest was plane, trains, automobiles. So that's kind of the summary of where we went. So the first place we want to share with you is the Giants Causeway. This is on the island of Ireland in the country of Northern Ireland. So Ireland's got the 2 countries. In Northern Ireland, we had the joy of being with our daughter and being able to enjoy the Giants Causeway. This is an UNESCO World Heritage Site, a beautiful geological feature. Absolutely, put it on your bucket list. You gotta go to the Giants Causeway. Next up, Steve's first number.
Yeah, we get to talk about spending now. And our biggest number was housing. And as typically we knew that was going to be our biggest number. We budgeted $2,000 per month for our housing and our accommodation. Our actual spending for housing was $16,131, and that was on a budget of $24,000. So we came in quite a bit lower to that, and lower than our budget. And we really broke that down and analyzed that quite a bit to see how it is that we came in so much under budget. And just to talk about a little bit about our accommodations and our nights for the entire year. We spent 115 nights in Airbnbs. 162 nights were spent in house sits. And as you know, when you're doing house sits, you don't have an accommodations expense. So that enabled us to spend quite a bit in this particular category.
And check this video up here for how to house sit in your nomad life.
Excellent. We had 46 nights in hotels, which again was also quite a bit lower. And some of those hotel nights were done on points. So again, significantly lower than we would normally spend in a hotel for accommodations. And 31 nights we spent on cruises. So that's something that we didn't budget for, probably a little bit higher. So just so you know, so we took the entire cost of our cruise and we allocated some of that towards housing, some of that towards our food and also for our entertainment and travel. So we were able to really spread out the cruise costs, but nonetheless, there's certainly 31 nights on a cruise was significant for our housing budget.
And check the video here for how to fit cruising into your nomad life. So the next thing we did was we went to the Aran Islands, and the Aran Islands are just off the west coast of Ireland. You might know the Atlantic Way, which is the drive that people do, kind of the Highway 101 of Ireland. The Aran Islands are just off the coast. We took a cruise over there, or took a boat over there, ferry over there, saw the Cliffs of Moher, and then enjoyed a beautiful bike ride on this ancient island. It was absolutely spectacular. You can bike or you can hike, make your day over to the Aran Islands. All right, next up, restaurants.
Yeah.
How do we do
restaurants, this is just eating out portion of our food budget was $11,166 on a budget of $9,600. So we came in over that, and we knew that we were doing that again just because of some of the fast travel that we were doing. We were eating out more, and we came in over budget on that particular category.
And if you want to see all the pictures of all the food we ate, comment below. We'll do a whole video on all the food we ate this, or the beautiful pictures from all the food in the last year. So another one of our favorite places that we went to was, we did a canoe trip in Mexico City. A lot of people go and get on the real party boats and go down through the Aztec channels. We did not do the party boats. We did an Airbnb experience where we got on a canoe. We rode out through the agricultural fields and with the 2,000-year-old Aztecan canals, and went to an organic farm and farmed for the day, and farmed and had a farm to table meal for lunch. It was an absolutely spectacular event and was a much better way, we thought, to experience those ancient Aztec canals rather than on a party boat with a lot of other folks. So really enjoyed that. It was an Airbnb experience. Do that in Mexico City. Okay, next up, travel.
Yeah, so next up is travel. So all the different types of traveling that we did all over the world, our total cost was $11,142. And this was on a budget of $6,000. I don't think we really anticipated the amount of traveling that we were going to be doing, more long distance, again, cruising across the Atlantic that we did.
But a good portion of that was the car part.
Right. So a significant portion of that over budget was the car that we had when we were still in the United States for 6 weeks before we left the country. And then for 44 days, when we came back to Europe, we leased a car, and we're going to do an entire video on all the car expenses. But just those two time periods cost us about $5,000.
Almost half of that travel budget.
Almost half of our budget. That we really didn't anticipate. It just wasn't in our assumptions when we originally did the budget that we would be driving a car. It was a great experience. We're going to be doing next week, I think, or in 2 weeks. We're going to do a complete video on how to lease a car in Europe and how to travel in and out of all the great little towns in Europe with a car.
So even though we're talking about Europe car, the last experience we had, or another experience we want to share with, was we did take a vacation in Mexico City to go see the migrating monarch butterflies. All the monarch butterflies of the world fly to this one area in Mexico to mate over the season. And we went and saw billions or millions of butterflies. It was one of those top bucket list items. Absolutely adored it. Got to see all the monarch butterflies migrating in, or migrating out, I guess it was. And another UNESCO World Heritage event, and absolutely put that on your list of things to do. Okay, next up, health and wellness.
Yeah, so health and wellness, we're getting into some of our smaller categories. We had a total expense of $3,420 on a budget of $2,400. And in health and wellness, we've got things like our health insurance is in there, but also things like the health memberships, the gym memberships that we did along the way, and also things like, massages that we did on the beach in Mexico, our health and wellness. So yeah, I feel pretty good that we came in a little bit over budget on that one. And
for all you wanting to know about our insurance information, there's a link below for a very long blog post with all the details about how much our health insurance cost, where we got it from, the agent that we used, the policy, the details of the policy, and the cost are in the link for our website at EatWalkLearn.com. So next up was the cenote. So before we left Mexico, we did get a chance to enjoy all the cenotes and even some snorkeling in Akumal. One of the prettiest places we ever went to was Cenote Maya, where we got the chance to rappel down into the cenote. An absolute top of the list chance to just get out of our comfort zone and enjoy an experience that you could have asked us if we were something that we were going to do, rappel 100 feet into a cenote. We wouldn't have told you that. We did it and we loved it. So, okay, next up, groceries.
Yeah, groceries. So groceries is part of our, our food budget, but we broke that one out separately. And in this particular case, we spent $2,419 on a budget of $4,200. We didn't, again, spend quite as much money on groceries because we spent more money on eating out. Mm-hmm. So this is something that to be aware of, and we realized that there were some periods during our first year that we had more fast travel than slow travel. We really are planning in our second year to slow down a little bit more. And in that case, we'll be, eating more at home, if you will, in our, location and not eating out as much. So
Right. So the next experience we want to share with you is Funchal, Portugal. This is one of our port stops on the cruise. One of the silliest things I think we've ever seen is you can take a wicker basket, you can be put in a wicker basket, and men with rubber shoes will run you down the hill, reaching almost 30 miles an hour in this very safe wicker basket with sparks coming off the back of their feet. It's absolutely a hoot. It's totally touristy. It's absolutely probably one of the most fun times we've ever had, just giggling and laughing and thinking, what the hell are we doing? Anyway, the basket rides in Funchal, Portugal. Put it on your list. Okay, next up, shopping.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about the basket ride. That was just a lot of fun and a really silly day. So our shopping category, we spent $2,097, and this is something that we didn't budget for. It was easy to categorize because it comes out that way in our credit card bills, and that's really how we're doing all of our expense tracking. It was just from our statements from our credit cards. You know, this is just simple things. You know, we need to buy new shoes. We need to, I don't even know some of the things, you know, underarm deodorant. Yeah. So we didn't spend a lot of money, and you can't, because you're nomadic, you're not spending a lot of money because you don't have any place to put anything anyways. So it's pretty easy to have no budget for shopping. I think next year we're going to do that. But anyways, we spent $2,097 in shopping.
On a zero budget. Next up for me was Venice. Now, you know, just do it. Go to Venice, get the gondola, do the trip. It is, I mean, we thought Funchal was touristy. There's nothing more touristy than getting a gondola in Venice, and nothing more delightful. It was so romantic, so loving, so tearful, so it was just really a fantastic time that I think we will always remember. It was, I think it was €80 to, which is about $100 or so, to get a half an hour ride through the Grand Canal on the gondola, and hands down, top experience of our life.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Okay, next up was entertainment. Speaking of entertainment.
Yeah, so we're down to our last category. This would have gone in our entertainment or maybe our transportation. I'm not sure where that one went, but so we had a total spending in entertainment of $2,014. And
on a zero budget.
And again, we didn't budget for entertainment, but we're going to next year. So this is, again, you know, when you're out nomadic, we look for lots of things to do that don't cost a lot of money. But some of the things that we look back over the past year that we did do, like going on a gondola ride and going on this silly sled ride, you know, it did cost a little bit.
And the rappelling and the snow days, they cost money. And we realized, looking back at our top 15 or 20, a lot of them did cost us money, and they stayed in the top, and we need to budget for that and be more intentional about spending money on experiences that we remember.
Exactly.
Okay, so next up for me was Cinque Terre. This is, we went, a lot of you have heard about it. This is a little spot in Italy where it's 5 cities that hang off the cliff and you hike among them. We got an Airbnb, we trained in, and we hiked among these gorgeous little towns that cling to the side of the Italian Riviera, and hiked. Steve said, I think while we're hiking, this is the best hike I've ever had in my life. It was just beautiful. A ton of people, you know, try to figure out when to go when it's not May through October, when the weather is good. If you can get there and maybe do some cold weather hiking through there, that might be the best way to experience it. Nonetheless, enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So back to expenses. Yeah. So let's do a little kind of a roundup a little bit and just look at expenses by month. You know, we had a budget of spending $4,000 a month, $48,000 per year. Did we hit that budget each month?
We're going to tell you in about 2 minutes.
But we were either under or over. We never hit it exactly. And as you can see in August, we went significantly over our budget, and we were doing a lot of prepaying for things. We were really starting to figure out as a nomadic life where we're going to go, what we were going to do, and really started paying for things that were going to be in the fall and the winter time. And then again, at the end of the year, just this past month, we paid for a lot of things. We've got our plan pretty well figured out through the fall, and we've already prepaid for a lot of our housing and a lot of our transportation expenses into October and November. So it's exciting to be able to have prepaid for those things and not have to worry about those expenses later. But that does mean that it was an expense in this year, in our first year.
And
so,
hit our budget for this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then I'm going to tell you quickly about Nice. It was so fun to be on the French Riviera. This was just another one of those silly days. Not really, it's probably not on anybody else's bucket list, but Steve really wanted to ride a leg of the Tour de France. And so we rented bikes one day and we rode a leg of the Tour de France, a leg like a mile on the local city bikes. But it was just seeing how much joy Steve had, just kind of recreating something that he had looked at for a very long time, which is a really joyful experience in a really beautiful place. So really enjoyed Nice. It made the top, I don't know, 10 or 12 that we're talking about. Okay, next up is, all right, drum roll.
Drum roll.
Were we over or under? So you saw we were over on some places, we were under on some places. Our grand total on $48,000 budget was
$50,953. We came in slightly over, about 7% over our total budget for the year. Feel really good about that, particularly knowing about some of the things that we did that we didn't anticipate doing, and also some of the things that we prepaid for. So that
we were dead on track coming into May, and we were going to be on within pennies of the $48,000 budget at the end of May. But then we had some deadlines and things we needed to pay for the different things that are coming up in the fall, and it just made sense to put that money into May. So our future expenses made May go over. But super happy that $50,000. Look at this life that we just lived, and these experiences we just had. And if we had been living in Denver trying to do these things, first of all, the budget would have been like $150,000. We wouldn't have had the time to do them. We probably wouldn't have done them. And COVID probably would have kept us in places that we couldn't get to, but we could get to them because we were already there, you know. So would we trade this life in? A friend of ours just sold, our next door neighbors just sold their house for $100,000 more than what we sold our house a year ago. And we asked the question of, should we have waited a year and saved $100,000? No way. No way. Look at this year that we've had, and it only cost us $50,000. So we ended up the year in the Algarve, where we toured along the Algarve from Tavera over to Lagos and back. It wasn't necessarily an experience, but the whole reason why we had gotten a car and done this trip was to get to Portugal and be able to see the beautiful Portuguese coast and all of Portugal as a way to invest in our future, where we might live in the future, and we'll talk more about that. So the Algarve was just not our number one, but just in the top 12 or top 10. And absolutely, if you are thinking about relocating someplace and you're in the States, Portugal might be a really good place for you to consider. But the last thing that Steve's going to talk about is our budget for next year. We went over by 7%. Yeah. What are we going to do next year?
Yeah, so we're going to keep our budget the same, and we're actually going to reduce our housing budget a little bit. And we were at $24,000 for housing. We're going to be at around $20,000 for our budget for this year for housing. Really, the only other changes is we're going to add a little bit of a budget for our entertainment and for our shopping, so that we're not spending money on a zero budget. We're realizing that those are important categories, and so we're going to keep our total the same. And I feel, really good that we can continue to have this kind of lifestyle, continue to do the kinds of things that we want to do, and travel the planet on $4,000 a month and piece of cake.
And if we don't make it on $4,000, you can purchase my book. Please watch the little trailer as we finish up here. Excuse me for hitting the table. Watch the little trailer. I did write a book about this entire experience this year as we were on the cruises and so on. Got the chance to put it all into a book about how we did it, where we did it, why we did it, who we did it with, when we did it, and you can read all about that. The book is $10 on Amazon. You have to get it from Amazon.com, and it will help pay for the overage on our budget.
Sure.
Anyhow, we will see you next week with a total rundown of all of our expenses from our road trip. Where we leased a car from, how we got it, was it easy, where we dropped it off, where we didn't drop it off, how much it cost, how much the gas was, how much the toll was, how much the parking was, how much it drove us crazy or didn't, how much we couldn't read the international street signs. Anyway, questions for you. What do you have questions about our budget? Could you do this lifestyle on $50,000, $30,000, $70,000? What would be in addition to your budget, or what would you take away from the budget? Tell us how you relate to the budget that we laid out, and ask us questions. We'll talk to you guys next week.